Greetings YouTube, Joe here with Culination Media, and welcome to episode 1 of Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube. We're going to be starting a new file, of course, and this is actually not going to be a 100% run. I'm not going to be getting everything. I'm going to be doing it much like I did with the Ocarina of Time and getting the items that I feel are most necessary, most relevant, and some cool ones on the side as well. Unidentified distress beacon has been tracked to a derelict space vessel in orbit above Talon 4, and Talon 4 is the name of the planet where most of this game is going to be taking place. Now, in this opening scene, there's no dialogue or anything like that, so we're not going to be missing anything important. It just shows Samus arriving at the Space Pirate Frigate, or Frigate, however you want to say it. Whatever. Alright, so let's go into some background and general information about this game while we have the opportunity. First of all, this game was developed by Retro Studios and came out all the way back in 2002. And though I would not dare call this a retro game, it is well over 10 years old. Well, I guess not well over, about 11 years old, but still, it's a long time for video games. Nonetheless, this was the first entry in 3 Metroid Prime titles, thus the trilogy was born, and this is largely considered, this specific entry in Metroid Prime is largely considered, even by critics, as well as a lot of just gamers in general, to be one of the greatest games of all time. Definitely, in my opinion, it is the best GameCube game ever released. It is the best in the Metroid series, and I don't know if I would go as far as to say it's the best video game ever created, because there were games that were a lot more influential prior to this, but it is definitely an awesome title. I love playing this game, and I'm very excited to be doing this on my channel, so this is going to be a lot of fun. When this came out in 2002, it actually broke an 8-year hiatus from the Metroid series. Nintendo kind of just let Metroid disappear, and then all of a sudden, on the same day in North America in 2002, Metroid Prime 1 and the Game Boy Advance Metroid Fusion came out. And I guess they didn't really turn back. They've been doing Metroid games every couple of years since then. And actually, Nintendo took a lot of heat because similar to what I guess a lot of you would be familiar with is that when Other M came out, everybody was complaining about how it's third person. Well, when this game came out, everybody was complaining about it being first person because Metroid games were not first person. This was the first one that did that. So, yeah, they got a lot of heat for that, but I mean, I don't think it was really worth it, because this game still turned out to be one of the best games, like I said, of all time. Okay, so, as for the timeline of this game, as I'm showing you, basically, the basic controls here, obviously, we have the combat visor, which is the visor that we're in right now. We have the scan visor. By pressing left on the control pad, you can scan items, and we're going to be going into that in greater detail as we move on. All you have to do in this area is just shoot those lake. Why did I even say lake? I don't know what I'm talking about. Those gate locks, and that allows you to proceed forward. Now, as for the timeline, I think that's the last thing I want to say about the general information stuff. But the timeline for this game, actually, this is supposed to have occurred in between Metroid 1 and Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting for those of you that follow the story, but let's get into this game in particular. When we're scanning items using left on the control pad, you're going to be noticing a bunch of different things. Some of them are orange that you can scan, and some of them are red. The red are obviously the ones that are more important and that are like directly relevant to you proceeding whatever room you're in, and or some type of informational type of scan. So as you can see down here, these are enemies and not necessarily necessary. Yes, they're not incredibly important. You don't need to scan them, but they give you a lot of helpful tips about what the enemy is, where it's come from, all that stuff, and it gives you background information on it, and it will give you hints on what you can do to avoid these enemies, what weapons would be best to use, especially later on in the game when we're going to be in possession of all these crazy weapons to use, and it will be difficult to figure out what we're supposed to use on each enemy. So scanning is always a good idea. Alright, so I killed those parasites. There's more of them here feeding on these dead space pirates. So the first objective of this game is to be, I guess, on the lookout for whatever's going on in this space pirate facility. There's all kinds of havoc that's being wreaked all over the place. There's dead space pirates with acidic burns and bite marks, and it appears as though something is on the loose that shouldn't be. And that's what we're investigating here to start off the game. After which time we're going to have to actually escape here, but that'll probably be in the next episode. So, for controls, A is shoot, B is jump. And if you press the X button, that is going to turn Samus into Morph Ball mode, which will allow her to explore areas that are too tight for her to normally fit through because she's a fat ass and all that good stuff. Okay, and you can also press A to release Morph Ball bombs. In this room, we have a bunch of things that we can scan. I'll just scan this one. Parasitic infestation has been detected in the ventilation systems of Dex Gamma and Beta. And this is going to be a map station. Map station, yes. Welcome to Map Station Holograms to download a map of the area you're in, which is going to be essential as you move throughout the game. You just simply will not find all of the items if you don't go to these map stations because the map is key and you can get lost very easily in a lot of the later areas. So you're going to want to make sure that you do that. Press Z to access the map. When you're finished, press Z again to resume play. Okay, let's check it out. So it's pretty cool. It's like a 3D map, and you can turn it all over the place. The, I guess the orange-colored rooms are the rooms that we have already been to, whereas the blue-colored rooms are the ones that we have not been to. As for the doors, the ones that are blue, that also have little green little square rectangle things on it means that, one, we've already been through it because it's green, and blue means that it can be opened by any beam that we have. It's also color-coded, so purple is wave beam, white is ice beam, then red is the plasma beam, gray is missile, and then it also has various other things on there, such as like where you're supposed to go, which is like a helpful hint, is the question mark, and all that stuff. But we'll be going more into that later. I'm just briefly touching on all the things that are going to be explained in much greater detail as we progress throughout the game, because this level is too short and not as in-depth as the later ones are for me to explain everything. So as long as you get a basic idea, that's all we're looking for here. And as for scanning all these orange items, you don't need to do that. It's not completely necessary, but it will give you helpful hints, and it will also give you backstory in a lot of cases, and more information as to what you're actually doing. You know, what is the purpose of this? How is this all tied together? All that good stuff. They don't really leave anything out. So, yeah, take advantage of that if you want to. I'll be doing some here and there. Unknown. Low life signs detected. This creature appears to be in a state of hibernation. Okay. Well, we don't want it to wake up, that's for sure. Alright, so if you're holding L, you can use the control stick to strafe around corners and strafe back also, because when enemies are shooting at you, you want to get behind cover as quickly as possible. The other thing that I didn't mention that I did a few minutes ago was that you can also open doors that have any beam under it with the Morph Ball bomb, but we're actually going to be losing some of our items, which is kind of strange how they do that in this game. They introduce you to everything and then they kind of take it all away and make you re-earn it, I guess. But again, something else we'll be going into in greater detail later on. Alright, so firing missiles is going to be with the Y button. There will be certain enemies and certain objects that can only be destroyed with missiles, like this turret right here I'm going to be scanning. So strafe, we can scan it actually behind the corner, which is weird. Auto defense turret, use missiles to break outer casing, and by outer casing, they just mean that that just destroys it. I always thought that that would mean that, like, I don't know, they become vulnerable after you hit them with a missile, but no, it kills them. And this is going to be missile ammunition, resupplies missile launcher with 5 rounds of ammo. You can use the charge beam by holding down the A button to suck these power-ups that are kind of levitating in midair towards you, which will be very helpful later on as well. Alright, a new pirate data entry has been downloaded to your logbook. So we're going to be reading this, give us some backstory. Space Pirate encrypted data. Zebus has fallen. All ground personnel are presumed dead, either killed by the hunter clad in metal or in the subsequent destruction of the underground facilities. Our research frigates Orpheon, Syriacus, and Vol Paragom were in orbit at 0 hour and managed to retreat. Frigate Orphean is now docked at Vortex Outpost. Orphean's cargo appears to have a 100% survival rate. Metroids are healthy but on restricted feeding schedules due to uncertain supply status. We are ready to begin research on the Metroids and other promising life forms. Security status remains at Code Blue. No signs of pursuit from the hunter being Samus Aran. Okay, and that also gave a little bit of a backstory. It talks about them landing on Talon 4. It also talks about with Zebus falling, which is actually what happened in the game that's supposed to be before this with Metroid 1. You can scan that computer on the left to make that turret disabled. You can still destroy it if you want, but I'm not going to bother with it. When it's green like that and it doesn't have the red evil eye going on the front of it, it's not going to attack you. Alright, so you can scan those life forms on the left if you want. You can scan these computers if you want. Bioform pain tolerance levels at 13% and counting. Basically, all that's really explaining to you, and what all these computers are explaining to you, is that the Space Pirates have been doing some crazy experiments and bioengineering and creating biological weapons and all kinds of crazy stuff. That's right, I just shot you from across the room. You didn't even know what hit you. So I don't know if I explained it yet, but those purple things, the purple orbs, are going to be life regeneration things. You're going to want to grab as many of those as you possibly can, although right now we can only have 99 HP, I guess, or health. That's at the top of the screen, so that 99 is, for those of you that were wondering that. Okay, oh, that was close. Alright, so let's scan this right here. Access to Deck Gamma is granted, and then we can step in the hologram, and it's going to take us in this elevator thingy, which will then descend to another room. And we're going to be going through things like this a lot throughout the game. This is all over the place. A lot of the concepts stay consistent. Alright, in this room, we're going to want to scan this thing here. Door lock enabled. That will help us open this door directly in front of us. Without scanning that, you won't be able to progress forward. And this Space Pirate is, yeah, he's kind of a badass. He didn't really get hurt by those bugs too much, so make sure you're prepared for that. Use missiles if you need to, but he shouldn't be able to do too much damage for you. Alright, so now we can go into Morph Ball mode, go into this little switch, and use a bomb. Oh, crap, turrets! There goes that one, and no. That's not what I wanted to happen. Alright, now we have to open the door again, and destroy the last turret. I mean, I guess you don't have to destroy the turret, but it's easier that way. And goodbye. There we go. These Space Pirates are dead, so don't worry about that. We can scan this on the right, and that will unlock the door lock for us again. So all you need to do is go into Morph Ball mode, and we'll lay a bomb with A, and that will open the door. I don't know if we're going to have to reopen the door, but there actually is a save station directly to our left, so we're going to be taking advantage of that because we have a boss battle and some escaping to do that's actually timed that we're going to be doing right after this. So I'm going to save that for the next episode because we're just about 14 minutes into this video, so that would put us well over like 25 actually by the time we get to save again. So we're going to stop here, and in the next episode we'll finish up the Space Pirate Frigate. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and please stay tuned for episode number 2. Game on.